I love this song. Ever have since I first heard it as a teenager in 1972. This is, of course, Summer Breeze, Seals and Crofts, from this album, their fourth album. Now, it was like a lot of bands, it took a little while for them to kind of dial it in. They had some great songs on the third album, Year of Sunday. And the first two, though, Down Home and Seals and Crofts, were just they're formative years. But really encourage you to check this one out if you don't have it. There's some other great tunes on here, Hummingbird, East of Ginger Trees. Anyhow, finally getting around to a lesson on this, and it's a fascinating song because it has a lot of elements that make it unusual. It uses a whole bunch of major chords that don't seem like they should go together in the same key. Then it uses a couple minor chords that do go together in not even necessarily in the key that it keeps ending on. So some unusual things, and great little opening. The intro is just this simple melody that Dash Crofts plays on the mandolin. Now it has the chords in the very beginning are just E minor and A minor 7. And it's got this syncopated rhythm that's happening in there where we're counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we're going down on every eighth note. So 8 downs in the measure. And it gets to the A minor 7 chord on the and of beat 2. So we have 3/8 notes worth of E minor. We want to hear 2 bass notes and then a light strum, and we don't really want to hear the high E in there. So something else that we're going to go through in this lesson is getting sort of focused strumming to bring out a melody note on an inner string sometimes, meaning not the highest string. What you want to hear there is the B. 2 bass notes, and then on the 4/8 note we want to strum the A minor 7 chord, but not really hear the high E again. Don't want to hear this. Not enough of the sound. We need to get rid of the first string. There's a couple different ways you can do that. One is just make sure your strum's a little smaller here. You could even grab the first string, but it doesn't sound very good. So you can touch it with your little finger. This is not a time to do that, but in other lessons I talk about killing the first string as you strum or hit whatever strings you want, but not a good idea here. So work on that first, getting that E minor, 3/8 notes of E minor, down, 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 and then A minor 7, and we're aiming for the middle 4 strings. Now as the lesson goes on, we'll talk about working this in a couple of different ways. And one of the unusual things that makes that melody so memorable is that right on the accented beats, on this A minor 7 chord, we hear a B in the melody, which is the second of the chord. So we hear a note that is not a harmonic tone, it's not part of the chord. So we hear this A minor 7 chord with a B in the melody. Then the E minor chord includes an F sharp in there, also the 2nd or 9th of the chord. So it gives a very unique sound to this short little melody. Accented, non-harmonic notes. Might talk about that a little bit more as we go on. Anyway, that's at least how the very opening works. And in the next segment, in the next bunch of segments, we'll talk a little bit more about the strumming, the chords, and some unusual chords. We'll work on playing even some of the licks, like when they come out of the and some of the chords that happen in there. So we'll take a look at that. And what else? That's about it. I'm going to incorporate some of the little mandolin parts that Dash does, along with what Jim Seals is playing on the guitar in most versions. One last thing. The original is at a slightly weird speed. I believe it's a little high, as I recall. So I encourage you to check out the live versions from Midnight Special from the early 70s. There's a couple, 2 or 3 different great versions that just have the 2 of them, or sometimes with a bass player playing this, and you can hear a little more clearly what's going on. So, okay, enough of the preliminary event here. We're going to work on Summer Breeze. That was the first segment I put together on a lesson, of course, on Summer Breeze. And what's really cool about this song is, aside from the chord progression being unusual, using a lot of major chords and but mixing in the minor mode, it really kind of even changes gears a few times. It's a very easy song to incorporate some of what Dash Crofts was doing on the mandolin in some of these parts. And head off into the bridge, or the second part of the bridge. So, the chorus. Anyway, if you'd like to see this lesson, it's up at Totally Guitars now. It's part of our Target program or available as an individual purchase. We also have a lot of free lessons that are available to anybody. You just got to come check them out. There's over 60 of them right now, and all kinds of other good stuff for beginners especially. But this is a little not quite a beginning song, because we really do talk about different ways of incorporating the mandolin parts into what's going on the guitar. In any case, come visit us when you can at Totally Guitars.